this gentleman won Tampa Supercross. Yeah, Mookie, what's up, man? Thanks for calling. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, what's good, guys? How we doing?
Dude, how busy was your phone this week? Sunday, Monday? How much did that thing must have been on fire?
It was pretty insane, actually. It was, I haven't had that many text messages since I won the 250 championship back in 2016.
Yeah, I mean, really, right? Yeah.
No, it was a cool moment. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. After that night, I remember glancing at my phone and it said like 215 text messages. I got text messages from people I ain't even heard of in years. I'm like, you guys still have my number?
They're like, you guys even know I'm alive? Right.
Yeah,
dude, what a night. So popular. Everyone was happy for you. And you just did it, like we mentioned before you came on, you just did it the best way, too. Look, you'll take the 100K and the win. If the two leaders hit each other on the last lap and go down and you ride by for the win, you'll take that. But, dude, slicing your way through these dudes and the stadium going wild, I mean, you couldn't have painted a better picture for your first win. Couldn't have done it.
No, I mean, you know, we're all sitting there talking about it, me, my dad, and my mom and stuff, and it's like this scripted way of, like, you couldn't even explain it, like how your first win at home, like, it was a pretty cool dream come true for myself. And no, I mean, the racing format of it wasn't easy. I just felt really good. I don't know how. I just was just in the zone somehow. And obviously, of course, the whoops was in my favor that night. I know a few guys are, like, you know, not sure where to go in the middle, left, right, and I just stuck to it. And I'm like, I feel pretty good in here, and I feel like everybody's making mistakes, and this is what I need to do. And I remember clicking up the fifth gear.
Fifth?
Whoops.
Oh, Jesus.
So I'm like, well, the bike's staying straight, so we're going to stick with that.
Now, I heard there was two grooves, left and right. Were you blitzing on the right of that groove, or were you in the left of the groove, or were you in the groove?
I wasn't in the middle for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I remember in the opening laps, it's so funny because actually my mechanic, you know, of course, Nathan Ramsey came over the radio and told my mechanic, he goes, like, the rest of the track seems pretty good, but you really need to look at the whoops. So parade lap, I do everything else but look at the whoops. And when I remember going through the sand, and I'm like, oh, shoot. I didn't look through the whoops. Like, I just kind of just blipped and whatever. So the first lap come around to the main event, I'm like, I have no idea where to go. So I just kind of started, like, piggyback a little bit off of, and I kind of was going left, going right, went in the middle, like the first kind of opening laps. I'm like, all right, like, it seems to me like the right side seems to be the best right now.
Okay.
And I just kind of stuck to the right-hand side of the whoops.
Dude, it's unbelievable. So, Lewis looked up this stat. Tell Mookie what you found.
Okay, this sounds unbelievable, but I think I got it right. In the main event, you had the 14 fastest times in the whoops.
In the segment, yeah.
In the whoop segment. I don't know how that's possible.
I don't either, but...
Because, like, rider to rider, it was like 8/10, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So then there were 13 other times that were in that 8/10 window. It's got to be a record.
I don't know. But we think you have the 14th quickest times.
That's still pretty sick, though.
Fifth in the whoops, too. That's awesome. So, and also you were catching them on those tabletop sections, too. Now, when did you start being like, shit, I can win this thing? Like, because you weren't, you know, off the start, you were buried, and, like, you're clicking off the laps, you're feeling good. Like, when did you start going, I can win this damn thing?
Well, I didn't really, like, of course, you know, I didn't really realize, like, Chase wasn't, like, really, really too far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
After I remember looking after I passed Anderson, and I'm like, okay, Kenny's right here. And I remember jumping the trip or the finish line, and I could see Chase going down the straightaway, like kind of like out of the sand coming out. And I'm like, oh, Chase is right there. I'm like, okay, like, I know Kenny's, like, he's very, really strong rider. He's very smart and stuff like that. And I'm like, if I could just figure out a way how to get around Kenny, because me and Kenny were taking very, very similar lines. And I remember, like, one thing that he wasn't doing was the rhythm section before the whoops. A lot of guys are going inside. And I'm like, okay, if I just stick to my line, go double, triple, that'll give me just enough momentum to get through the whoops, and maybe I can square him up through the sand. So that was, like, the attention. and I felt really confident in the sand for some reason, like that left-hander, just because I passed Anderson there. So I was like, okay, I could probably get this done, and I went for it. And I remember like me and Kenny got real close through the sand, and I'm like, all right, he backed off a little bit, and that was it. And then we kind of just I don't know, like it was kind of weird. Like I would say probably I don't know when I kind of got around Kenny, maybe 8 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of looking at Chase, and I'm like, he's not pulling away, and I was like, man, I feel like I'm actually kind of catching him a little bit, and I felt like there was like a stagnant in the main where it was like maybe like 5 minutes to go, and then I can really start to see like that he was really starting to switch his lines up, like kind of, and I think that was like a little bit of like a panic mode, and I was like, maybe he's finding something that I'm not seeing, and I'm like, well, whatever I'm doing is working because I'm catching him, right?
Yeah, right.
So
yeah.
it never really dawned on me until like the last, I would say like around 4 minutes, that I'm like, I'm actually really catching him, and then I start seeing him really switch his lineup in the whoops. So it kind of made me like, if I can just like put that pressure, like him entering like the whoops, because and we all been there, like there's nothing worse than like you coming out of a corner, and then you start seeing that guy like out of your peripheral, and then all of a sudden you don't see him no more, right? Like
you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, like, and then of course, like being a fan, like the crowd favorite, like the fans didn't help the situation either.
No.
So it was a cool moment, and I was just really confident in myself and my equipment and everything, and I was like, dude, I'm just gonna go for it. Like I had the mindset that I'm just gonna go down the right hand side of the whoops. If I crash, I crash. I don't. And unfortunately, he went down.
Yeah, it was cool. Now, I talked to you a couple of weeks ago. You told me this is the best you feel on the Husqvarna, and obviously we saw what happened. Look, I don't know if you're going to slice through the field and win again this weekend, but you do feel better. You do look better. It's got to be so much confidence to do what you just did from just a season point of view. Like never, even if you'd gotten second. That was a great ride either way. Like, you feel really good right now.
Yeah, I feel great, and it's just, sometimes you need to hit the reset button, and I kind of felt like going in 2025, I'm like, I have a feeling I'm going to get on a podium like at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's and I just was just confident in myself and just kind of keep believing myself, and then obviously, like, it's funny that you sit here and say like, oh, I'm going to get on the podium, and then Anaheim won. You just, next thing you know, you're flying through the sky upside down, right? Yeah. So I'm more like, well, I might need to take a couple weeks off, and maybe we'll circle back around to that. And it was just so funny how quick this sport is. Like things can change so quickly and drastically. And I was like, I don't know, just for some reason it was just the cards aligned where it should have been, and I was just happy. I would have been content to be on a podium 1,000%, but I felt like if I would have took that podium and just backed down on second, or not at least try, I could have backed down a little bit, but I had so much momentum going that it just was heading the right direction. If I would have got it second that night, and knowing that I didn't try to take the chance or anything, I would have been bummed on myself, right? Because wins don't come to you like that. It's a hard thing, and whether Chase fell or not, I don't know what would have happened. But
I think you would have got him, dude. You were going 14 miles an hour quicker than him. I think you would have. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? You're right. Chase is a champion. Who knows? But I think you would have had it. I do. Why? Okay, so the 2-3 before the whoops. It looked kind of easy, man. But was it hard for you or hard for other guys, or did you not get it at times? Because, dude, I'm in the press box eating popcorn. Everything looks really easy from there. But, man, it didn't look hard. I don't understand why certain guys weren't doing it.
Well, to be honest with you, it's just really because of the setup when you went, like, after the big triple left and you went 3-3. And anytime you have, like, you come in on the backside of I call them fives, a 5-footer. Yeah. There's so much pressure, that you kind of have to take, and that corner was pretty slick, right? Like, so I felt like a lot of guys are just like, rather just instead of hit the brakes, just be off the brakes, just jump, roll, double, and then they try to carry their momentum through the whoops. So I knew the whoops were super slick. Like you can't, and whatever speed you enter with, you can't make up speed, right? Like, because that's just how the track was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm gonna try just going double, triple, and I really honestly don't know why guys didn't really pick up on it earlier. Like, and that was the biggest thing. Like, I obviously rewatching the race, Coop picked up on it, Anderson picked up on it, Kenny picked up on it, but a lot of those guys didn't pick up on it in the beginning of the race, and I felt like that was the make it or break you through that entire section. So we were all doing it in practice. I just stuck to the script. Honestly, I just stuck to it. I'm like, well, I got third in practice, so clearly I'm doing something right here, and I just wanted to stick to it.
In the off season, we spoke about how you would feel if this win never came, and honestly, maybe I misjudged what you were saying or how you were acting, but I felt like you'd made peace with the fact that this may never come. So now that it's happened, and maybe you can be more honest, had you gone through that process of thinking?
No, I mean, I haven't. I mean, it was kind of in a way where I wouldn't say, like, Lewis, I wouldn't say, like, I gave up on, the chances of me winning. It was just of me saying, like, when I did my knee last year, I think it was more of, like, you just be happy with what you got kind of attitude. Like, you kind of back down a little bit because, when you're racing and you get injured, it humbles you pretty quick, right? Mm-hmm. And I was just really just trying to keep myself motivated. Like, yeah, I'm still hungry. I still wanted to win and things like that. And now that I finally got to win, like, it's an awesome feeling, but it doesn't change my mind of, like, the reflect of anything else what I've done, right? Mm-hmm. This is just an add-on to me, right? I look at it like, dude, you've been racing for this long. How many riders that you race with in the amateur made it this long, and the professional, there's only a few of us left. So it's more of an accomplishment, more of a career than was winning or not winning.
This was such a clear win, a dominant win. Does that make it even more confusing that this hasn't happened sooner? This went so well that it almost makes no sense that it never played out this way in the 100 or so starts before Tampa.
No, I'm not mad at that at all. Actually, I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm a late bloomer anyway, so
yeah.
I can't take away from the past. The past is the past. I mean, at one point, honestly, like, dude, I was gonna quit racing in 2017. Like, that was all-time low in my life in racing. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, you're spending your own money going racing, and like and obviously coming off a championship, like you went from winning a championship, holding up the number one plaque, to you came and you're fighting for 12th place and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. It's like, at this point, it's what am I doing it for? So the reflect on that, and then the speed this years ahead, and then next thing you know, you're holding up a trophy. I think it's pretty cool, right? So it just goes to show you, like, an emotional roller coaster of how life can be. But I mean, either way, man, I'm content. I'm happy that it happened right now. Actually, if anything, being a little bit older, it's more sweet.
Yeah. It's really one of the cooler things that I've seen, just the way you did it. And you're a great dude. Everyone's happy for you. And I'm so jaded because I just go to these damn races for so long. I found myself, like, kind of getting the goosebumps watching you. I really, and it doesn't happen to me, right? Because I just go to all these races and the same guys win, and you're like, whatever. And then I was just like, it was so cool for me. I know you a little bit, but I was just like, this is awesome. It's such a memorable race for so many people because you did it in Tampa, and the way you did it, and the fact that everyone likes Mookie. Like, I don't know, even Bam likes you now, like everybody. So it's awesome. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think for me, it's like I said, the whole industry, man. Like, I got messages from just everybody in this industry, mm-hmm. people outside the industry, like, and I think like you said, like the cool factor of it, and being thankful and blessed. Like, I'm a likable guy, and I kind of felt like, as a rider, like, when I saw AP get his first win, like, dude, I was mm-hmm. so happy for the guy, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The hell what happened to me that night, like, I was so genuinely happy for the guy because, like, he's just a liked guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was really cool that Cooper and Anderson, they were clapping for me and stuff like that when I got announced. Like, it's just a mutual respect, and I felt like as any rider, if they're like, man, if I had to pick a guy to win a race, I'd rather have Mookie because he's been at it for so long. But to have my brother in the booth announcing, he was kind of. Now I rewatched the race. He was kind of pausing. He didn't really know what to say, and I just think there was a lot of emotions going on that night. So it's a really cool moment.
Travis, you backed up Lewis's stat about the whoops. You just looked it up.
I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah, 14 fastest times.
Yeah, he's right.
That's pretty amazing. By the way, I want to ask you about James because at some point in the broadcast in the main, he goes, I was talking to him after practice, and he was really listening to me. He made it sound like you don't really listen to him, except for tonight you did.
No, not really. I mean, and it's, I'm not saying like in a bad way, but you hear it, you're like, yeah, and then like it's like taking that advice and then you can't apply it. I'm like, sometimes I feel like some of the stuff that he says to me, I'm like, you do realize like I'm your little brother, right? Like, yeah. I'm not you. Like, I'm not going to go out there and quad this and, hit the whoops. Like, you do realize, like, your little brother, like, you're dealing with, right, going to do all that, right?
Yeah.
So
you see me ride every day, James. You see me ride every day of my life. Do you really think I'm going to quad that thing?
Yeah, exactly. Like, when you were in 125s, going out there winning, like, I was up in the stands eating Panda Express. Like, let's not forget that moment.
Exactly.
James also said that you seemed different in the day and he could tell a good result was coming just by your demeanor. So what did you feel different in the day?
Well, hold on, though, but then he crashed 14 times in the sand.
Well, I don't know if James was just kind of, I saw this coming. I saw this. I was the first one to spot this.
Right.
Did the day feel different or special or like it was going to be good?
Like the sand?
No, just the day itself. But we were saying, like, I don't know why James would say that because you did fall in the sand a couple times. So we were,
Yeah, no, the sand was eating me up, dude. Especially the one after the finish line. I almost fell there 3 times trying to do a hot lap in practice, and I gave up. Yeah, and it's so funny? I was sitting there. The first time I crashed it was qualifying 1, and I'll never forget. Like when I hit the ground, I'm just like, dude, like this is Clearwater Beach. Like I can't stand this type of sand. And I was like, man, this is not good for the hair. This is not good for the hair. Like this was a 2-hour shower tonight, 1,000%. Yeah. And I was just cracking up. But on your thing, Lewis, he said like, yeah, I had a different look in my eyes. It was right before the after practice, before he had to go up in the booth and stuff, and he was like, "How you feel?" And he asked, in front of all the guys, and then I was upstairs in the lounge and there was nobody around, and he goes like, "Listen, like, how do you really feel?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, "I actually feel like loose, like really loose." Like, and he was like, "That's good. You feel like you could win?" I'm like, I have no pressure on me right now. I usually I would say like, I need to do this, do that. I'm like, I actually feel really, really good. And that's when he was like, okay, like, then let's go out there and like do it. Like, and he says, like, just told me, was like, man, like, if you just go out there, it doesn't matter if you win, you lose, it doesn't matter. Just do it for you. Don't do it for anybody else. Do it for yourself. And don't hold back. Like, he goes, you have nothing to lose. He's like, it's your contract year. Like, just telling me a small little, like, pep talk. And he was like, you trying to conserve energy or whatever, if you're worried about being tired or anything like that. He goes, I'd rather you go out there and lead, like, 8 laps and then get tired and fade back. At least it shows that you're trying to be up front. You have something to work on. But you don't know what you can work on until you're up front. And that's kind of what I was just running off of, and I was just running off that adrenaline, and I was going to apply it and see where it takes me.
So what was it that made you feel loose in the day? Were you more at one with the bike than you have been at rounds this year? Is there something you can pinpoint which you can now take or translate to the upcoming races?
I mean, of course, once you win a race, you kind of feel like that weight off your shoulders. Like, okay, like I'm finally joined the club, and you just feel confident about yourself and your equipment and everything around you. And not to say I didn't feel that before that. And that's what kind of helped me get to this point. I actually was just, I don't know, man. Like, I just was just really happy that day. Just maybe just hometown race. I maybe got a little fishing in. I don't know. I was just cooling and vibing, and just something about being back home was cool for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. We got some phone calls for you here, Malcolm, as well. We got Malcolm Stewart, brought to you by the folks at Weisco Piston. Jake's on 3. Jake, what's up? What's your question or story for Malcolm Stewart?
Hey, Malcolm, congratulations, buddy. That was awesome to watch. We were there. But it was funny, years ago when you were, I think you were riding 80s or 125s, but there was a Florida race up there at Waldo. And it had been raining, and it was sloppy, and it was a black sand with the loose ruts. And we were parked right next to you and your dad. And you came off the track, and your dad had, like, steam blowing out his ears. And he started jumping on you. He said, man, you slow down in them ruts. You just slow down in them ruts. You say you want to drive cars like your brother drives. Well, your brother don't slow down in the ruts. So you ain't never going to drive no Ferraris till you start going through those ruts.
Well, makes sense. Yeah.
And it was funny because when the race was over, my son, who was probably about 9 at the time, when the race was over, he looked at me as, I guess Big James was right.
Yeah, there we go.
But, yeah, your dad was so cool because we were kind of new to the mini bike racing. And he was giving him tips and everything. He actually said to me, he goes, I might as well give them to your boy because my boy don't listen to me.
Well, Malcolm, I mean, the word is, too, for you, like motocross wasn't your first thing. It wasn't your first love. You loved to fish, hang out, right? Like motocross wasn't you weren't all in.
I can promise you when I was 9 years old, being a professional motocross athlete was the last thing on my list.
Thanks, Jake.
Not even come close. So, yeah. But yeah, you are correct. As far as getting chewed out, I still get chewed out today, still to this day. So, yeah, I mean, dude, my whole amateur career I didn't want to race. I was more like my parents just wanted me to race, maybe because it would keep me out of trouble. So,
yeah.
That was pretty much it. But, yeah, as far as getting chewed out, them days are still here. I think I'm always going to get chewed out as long as I'm still racing.
Your dad's reaction was awesome after the race. And Nathan Ramsey, you threw a lot of props to Nate Dogg, who I've known Nathan forever, and I have a lot of respect for him. So you could see that your dad's reaction was so cool, and then also just your appreciation of Nathan Ramsey, So that was great.
No, Nate, he's awesome. Like I said, we've gone back whenever I was a teenager, from JDR days. So, between me, Nathan, and my dad, like that past history is always been really, really close and connected. And Nate, he's been at it. He's been working hard for a very, very long time. He was always a great, rider growing up when he was racing his professional career, hard worker. So. Any tips, and I love about one thing I couldn't always say about Nathan Ramsey, like, between him and different other team managers, like, he's did it. He's been at the top level before. He knows what it feels like to win and all that. So I think, like, for him, like, when he approaches you and on riding and kind of like a little bit of a coaching thing, it's sometimes you take that advice versus, like, you take that advice more seriously than your dad or that one person that's just always in your ear, right? So having Nathan is always good, and obviously I try to listen to everything that he says to me. I try to apply it the best I can, and like I said, last Saturday it all fell in the right way.
Awesome. We got some more calls for you here. Anthony's on 4. Anthony, go ahead. What's your story for Malcolm Stewart?
Mookie, I'm curious at how pumped, as a Florida native myself, how pumped was your Polk County boys?
Man, boy, them Polk County boys, they were loud, man. I tell you what, they were screaming, and like I said, to do that just in front of all the people that were in Florida was awesome. So, I was happy. I was so happy and blessed, and I brought my whole family out there, and they got to see me, get my first win, and we'll always cherish those moments until then.
Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I got a few other things too. Like I actually sold Pup, Watley, and Garrett their bikes when I was down there, and I've had plenty of opportunities to hang out with you at the DMXS stuff up here, and it was always really cool to get to hang with you in person. But also in like 2010, I remember, I think it was Winter Ams at Gatorback. You dropped in the gate next to me, and I was like, holy shit, that's Malcolm. And when I saw the speed and how you destroyed all of us, which that KX252 stroke sounded so badass, yeah, I was just, if I would have heard then that you would win a Supercross one day, I'd be like, I believe it. Until last year, I kind of was like bummed. Anytime my buddies and I would talk about it, I was like, I don't know if he can do it anymore. And I was so, like, more of a disappointed bum. And when watching it live, like, I was just blown away and so pumped that you finally got it. So congrats, man.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And yeah, those bring back good old memories at Winter Ams at Gatorback.
All right, we got a fishing question. Do you want to take it, Malcolm? I don't know if you want to take a fishing question or not.
I mean, of course, why not?
I mean, all right, we're not a fishing show or a motocross show, but go ahead, Wesley. We do know Malcolm likes the fishing.
Fellas.
Go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, first off, congrats, Mookie. It was awesome watching you win, buddy. I'm just curious, what is your favorite bass setup at the moment?
Favorite bass setup is I like to fish a 7-foot rod, bait caster, Abu Garcia, with just keep it short and sweet. Texas rig, purple worm.
Gotcha.
Right.
Hey, can I have one more question? For instance, for Lewis, real quick.
All right, go ahead.
Is it fishing?
Yeah, because Lewis doesn't fish, so
We know you're not afraid to ask the straightforward questions. So we need you to ask McAdoo: is it more uncomfortable to ride with a torn ACL or with his balls hanging out?
okay.
Okay,
Well,
I'll add that to my to-do list.
Yeah, we'll get on that. Thanks, man. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I said to McAdoo before the day, I'm like, look, man, it can't go any worse than last year. I know you got a torn ACL, but last year was just too much. So
That's optimistic of you.
yeah, thank you, right? Malcolm Stewart here on the show, brought to you by the folks at Weisco. Speaking of fishing, you want a bunch of money? Do you have something planned for this bonus money? A fishing boat or rod or something?
There's definitely. I was on Bass Pro Shop looking at some stuff, so definitely. So yes, I have been looking at some options, but right now I definitely earned enough gas money for sure. So I do got some gas money. Boat.
Yeah, when we were talking in Paris, you were telling me about how much the gas costs for boats, and you need free tools. So I was, yeah.
Yes.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, listen, again, I don't get excited anymore at these races, but I was on Saturday night, man. That's awesome. It's cool. Really appreciate you coming on tonight. Congratulations, and we'll see you in Detroit, man.
All right, appreciate it. Make sure you bring your jacket because it looks like it's pretty cold there.
Yeah, I think so. We'll go from one extreme to the other, right? All right, man.
Right. Thanks.
Thanks for the time,
guys.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. That's Malcolm Stewart, everybody.